You for having me here. As I said, as she already said, I co-founded a VPN company 4 years ago here in Bucharest. Our company is delivering encryption solutions to the world, right now used by 6 million people and growing. I would like, before I start, to get to know the audience a bit better. So who of you, so I know on what level I can talk with you, so who of you would consider himself being a person that knows technology and internet technology better than the average of the people? I would say nearly everybody. Who would consider himself or herself to be a hacker? Who would consider him or herself to be an online activist? Okay, I see. These questions are important because I don't want to talk with you today about technology itself, because I think we have all in this room a clear understanding about what technology is and what encryption is. So I don't want to have an encryption talk or talk about encryption. I would like to talk with you about the impact of encryption, of what happens in the world right now, and why I think that encryption is a very strong and important weapon in the 21st century. And I would like to encourage you to fight for encryption online and take encryption also as a weapon or as a possibility to make the internet a better place, a more secure place. And in the way we make the internet a more secure place, we make our life a more secure place. Because for me, there is no such thing than having a offline life and a online life. For me, it's just one life. I use the internet in my life for my life. So it's part of it. So it's not that there is a differentiator between being online or offline, because we clearly know that we are all online in future. Maybe you ask yourself what kind of T-shirt I wear and what St. Pauli is. I have to put this slide in every presentation because 20 years ago I lost a bet with a guy from St. Pauli, so I have to do that. It's just 1 minute. St. Pauli is an anarchistic football club in Germany, in Hamburg. These guys are not playing with the rules of the corrupt football organizations worldwide. This is the only football club that I know that is playing professional football that is not corrupt. It's all about football there. It's about fun. Anarchists go there, socialists go there, activists go there. Everybody goes there. It's pure party, so I encourage you, if you're once in Hamburg, you can also drop me a line. Go to the St. Pauli Stadium, enjoy yourself, and have a lot of fun. This club is also an example for the fact if you do things constantly different, and if you stick to your ideas, you're going to be successful at the end of the day. Right now, St. Pauli is on number 2 or 3 on the second league in Germany. So, cryptography, our weapon in the 21st century. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founders of the United States, said a long time ago, those who surrender freedom for security will not have, nor do they deserve either one. And this is exactly the discussion we have in our days. It's the old discussion between security and freedom in a society that communicates through the internet. And there is a big difference between privacy and security, between having a secure internet or an internet where we are able to communicate in private. And we have right now, after the horrible attacks in Paris, again, a so-called encryption debate. Who of you heard about this term or knows what the encryption debate is about? Very good, okay. So the encryption debate is basically about the fact that the governments say that they need to have access to encrypted communication to avoid attacks like Paris, to avoid crime. And this is the so-called encryption debate. For any of you who are not familiar with the debate, I will show you how the debate usually goes. The government says it wants to have a special set of keys to decrypt and encrypt data transmitted across the internet. Okay. We are part of this industry who deliver these technologies. We say, the computer industry says it's not possible. Then the government says it's a matter of national security, so it's important that you do that. Then we say it is technically not possible, regardless how important it is. It's not possible. So then they say it's possible. And then we say it's anything that's possible. Anything is possible. But why? Why would we take an incredible, beautiful technology that is secure by design and make it weak on purpose? Why would we do that? So sure, it's possible, but why would we do that? And around and around. So this is the encryption debate. And I mean, it's silly, it's insane, it's stupid, but this debate goes on right now. And it goes on a very high level, and it's important for every single one of us, because this debate will decide how the internet in future looks for us as human beings. Can we communicate in future online secure in a way that we protect our privacy or not? And I want to give you some examples to guide you a bit through this process. United States Senator Dianne Feinstein, these are all quotes that have been said in the last couple of weeks. I think that Silicon Valley has to take a look at their products. Because if you create a product that allows evil monsters to communicate in this way, to behead children, to strike innocents, whether it's a game in a stadium, in a small restaurant in Paris, take down an airliner, that's a big problem. Congratulations, Ms. Feinstein. Yes, that's a problem. But I mean, comparing technology with evil monsters and shit, this is a bit tough. So, but now it gets interesting. The second part is a bit more interesting. So we need high-tech's help in securing an internet that even with a court order, you can't get what they are saying. That's a big problem. So instead of realizing that internet companies, internet developers, the people who care about the technical backbones, who already implemented on several layers encryption technology. So this is a movement that had success in the last year. So we made this shit even more secure. So instead of saying we need, so she said we need their help, but she takes it as an argument against encryption. Instead of saying, yes, it's good what they do right now. It's insane. CIA Director John Brennan, that's my favorite idiot. He's incredible. So every time something happens in the world, you know, this guy pops up like a Muppet, you know, with some really good ideas. And he said, in the past several years, because of a number of unauthorized disclosures, he's referring to Edward Snowden, by the way, who was employed by his agency, maybe something he should also think about, you know, because these unauthorized disclosures happened in his own agency, in his own house. He was in charge. He was responsible for it. He's the head of it. So he's blaming Edward Snowden for it. And a lot of hand-wringing over the government's role in the effort to try to uncover these terrorists. Hand-wringing. Hand-wringing. First time in American history, after Edward Snowden, they have a huge debate about what's going on. First time it's pretty clear that governments spy on us unconstitutionally. And this debate is called by him hand-wringing. So we had a few discussions. This is a serious discussion going on, and it's a good discussion. But for him, it's hand-wringing. There have been some policy and legal and other actions that are taken to make our ability collectively, internationally, to find these terrorists much more challenging. And I do hope that this is going to be a wake-up call, particularly in areas of Europe, where I think that there is a misinterpretation of what the intelligence security services are doing by some quarters that are designed to undercut those capabilities. So the Americans, again, these stupid idiots in Europe with their stupid ideas of freedom and democracy. Yes, we are in Europe a fortress of privacy and civil rights. Yes, we are. And we are starting now to think about our own role towards the American politics. This is true. But he's blaming us for being more democratical, more into freedom, more into civil rights than the so-called free United States. This is insane. Government Jeb Bush, who's currently running for president, so he's a number one politician. If you create encryption, it makes it harder for the American government to do its job. while protecting civil liberties to make sure that evildoers aren't in our midst. We need to find a new arrangement with Silicon Valley in this regard because I think this is a very dangerous kind of situation. I mean, what kind of arrangement does Jeb Bush want? Is it the kind of arrangement that we hand over keys to the technologies we are building? Is this the kind of arrangement he wants? So this is a typical statement of somebody who does not know a thing about technology. He does not know a single thing about how encryption works and why encryption exists. And this guy is running for president. Carly Fiorina, former CEO of HP. I picked this quote because I thought she's a former CEO of HP. HP is kind of a technology company, kind of a big one. So she might have a clue about what she's talking about when she talks about encryption. Disappointing, no, she doesn't. I certainly support that we need to tear down cyber walls, not on a mass basis, but on a targeted basis. I do not believe that we need to wholesale destroy every American citizen's privacy in order to go after those who know those that we know are suspected or are already a problem. But yes, there's more collaboration required. I mean, she's from HP. Maybe she can lead the collaboration that is necessary to collaborate between state organizations, and good luck for running for president. She doesn't have any clue about what she's talking. And the next one is also great, is FBI's Mr. Comey. He's also like a Muppet, always showing up when something happens. A whole lot of good people have said it's too hard to implement backdoors. Maybe that's so. But my reaction to this is, I'm not sure they've really tried. So what they want us to do is to think a bit better about the problem, to try it even a bit harder, to make it easier for them to intercept encrypted communication. So this is, in quotes, the current status of this debate. And I didn't quote here parliamentarians in the second, third, or fourth rows. These are presidential candidates, these are people from the government, and these are high-profile people from FBI, NSA, and whatever. So this is a serious debate going on, led by insane people. So can we do magic? So if they expect from us that we do magic, because for me it's magic, you know? I mean, we basically in this room understand that encryption is mathematics. They think it's magic. So can we do magic? The right answer to is, look, if there is a scientific provable way to implement backdoors, we could have the discussion at all. We could. But it doesn't make sense to have the discussion when everybody who's looked on it, everybody worldwide, and is honest about encryption, says that it would make us more vulnerable when those systems are subverted. So everybody who knows basic things about encryption, everybody who is a specialist, everybody who works on it, says it is not possible. If we would implement backdoors, we would implement backdoors also for terrorist organizations, what they want to fight. Very sophisticated terrorist organization will be thrilled in the presence of backdoors because they would immediately start to use it. If the US federal government has a backdoor into encrypted systems, then it will give other governments the basis, it's a so-called legal precedence, for also having a backdoor to encrypted basis. So even if we would say, and this could be possible, I mean, this is for me also thinkable, that we say, okay, the American government might not be evil, so they are really caring about us. It's not like the terrorists are not in this government. The people who do bad are not in this government. These are good guys. So why not handing over the key to good guys? But you know, if we give these keys to one governmental organization, we have to give it to the next one. Do we trust China? Do we trust Iran? Do we trust Iraq? Do we trust Syria? And so on and so on. Do we trust France? Do you trust Germany? Do you trust your own government in Romania? I mean, if we start to do that, that means we would have encrypted keys, the so-called golden keys, in each legal territory on Earth. And the next good argument is, you know, the government was not able to protect the database of detailed personal information about its own employees from being stolen by another government, in this case, China. The Office of Personnel Management system were breached in the report, blah, blah, blah. So every single employee of their so-called secret services is now in China's hands. So they are not able to protect these keys. They are not. It's proven. They can do it. It's like, you know, you have children at home and they want to go out and they want to buy ice cream, and you know exactly if I give them 50 lei, they will spend it all. So ice cream is 5 lei, so you give them fucking 5 lei because they will spend the rest. They are not capable to deal with money, and that would be the same situation giving the US American government a golden key to our encryption technology. It's insane. These people are technically not able to protect their own secrets. And the next point is to use terrorist attacks to fight at the end of the day for the erosion of security and liberty and our privacy is, I don't find the right words. I'm ashamed of everyone who's trying that. If you use these crimes to counterfight what we fighted for over the centuries, civil rights, human rights, and so on, this is shameful. So we can't do magic. It's simply not possible. Next question is, that's the next layer. So even if we could do it, do they really need backdoors? Do they need access to encrypted communication? The government often uses the case of the ISIS recruiters using Twitter and other social media to recruit individuals. So if you look on the history of younger terrorism and what happens, all these people have been recruited over social media. Social media is, by definition, something that happens public. So it is kind of easy for them to survey this part and catch the people immediately. They don't need encrypted solutions or backdoors to encrypted solutions. The United States does not have a monopoly on developers. That's what they always forget. They think only Silicon Valley is able to develop software. And this is stupid. If a terrorist organization like ISIS is able to build state structures, they are able to hire developers. And they did. So the genie is already out of the bottle. Encryption is invented since 2001. It's a working system, unbreakable. So the genie is out of the bottle, and these people, if they don't use our encrypted solutions, they use their own encrypted solutions. And there are several of them. I don't want it to spread too much, but there's an organization called the GIMF. It's the Global Islamic Media Front. They develop software. One of the tools they developed is a software called Asra al-Mujahideen. It's launched in 2008, and it's a software for encrypted communications. So they don't need the Silicon Valley to use encrypted communication. So if they would like to use encrypted communication, they could do that based on their own technology. The hijackers who attacked New York and Washington did not use encryption at all. And the FBI admitted it back then in 2001. The guys, the 19 hijackers, were not involved in any encryption. They had plain messages on their phones and plain messages on their computers. They don't use encryption. They don't have to use encryption for several reasons. Actually, in Paris, the police found a smartphone with unencrypted data on it, with the plans of the Vatican venue they attacked, with the hotel geolocation where they rented the rooms to stay the night before the attack, and with unencrypted SMS messages, one of them saying, on est part en commerce, that means we are starting now, we are on the go. So they shamelessly used unencrypted communication. So the government message we are talking about and we are facing is we, the state, cannot effectively respond to the terrorist threat unless we have access to encrypted messages. We know that we must balance the need for privacy and against the need to protect public safety. We don't know how to do that yet, but there must be a way to do that. That's the current state of the situation, of the discussion. And I would like to encourage you all to realize and recognize that this is the hidden message between everything state officials all over the world say right now when it comes to terrorism and to weaken civil rights. This is the message. They think this is the only solution. They don't know what the solution is. For that, they need us. But they think we have a way, but we don't want to collaborate. So the answer to that is the government should not have the right to what does not make sense. So they shouldn't have the right to have access to backdoors because backdoors don't make sense, and should not have a privilege which is already proved itself, which it has already proved itself unworthy of having. These guys, as I said before, are not able to keep secrets, so why would we hand them over secret keys? And they already proved that. What they should do is use the front door. Why are they asking for backdoors? They should use the front doors. If you have a look on all police investigations in the last years, most successfully they catch guys using the front doors, doing their job. They don't need backdoors. They should start using the front doors. The fact that encryption is becoming mainstream with end-to-end encryption now integrated into widely used applications like WhatsApp and iMessage is a victory for the cybersecurity movement and for this world security going forward. So what we did in the last years, we as a tech community, tech society, activists, hackers, developers, whatever, people who know a bit better than others, is we made things better and safer. So encryption is now integrated in mainstream products. And this is a good thing. So instead of having a debate about how we weaken up these systems, we should all be happy and try to move it forward and implement encryption all over the internet. And I think it's now law enforcement's turn to try harder. It's not our turn to try harder. I think our mission is to make technology safer and better to use, and their job is to catch the bad guys. And the world changed. We are not living in the same world than before internet times. The internet changed a lot. The internet changed the way people communicate. The internet changed the way how people behave. And I think the only one who are not able to adapt are the ones who are in charge to catch the bad guys. So I think it's absolutely okay to talk with them and tell them, look, you have to try harder now. We did our job, and our job is to make things more secure and not to make it more weak. And as I'm representing a company that secures the surfing behavior and internet connections of nearly 6 million people, I can use that also as a proof for the fact that this technology is not mainly used by bad people. So this is a few shots from our company. So we have a big logo there that's called People's Security Agency. So if they have something like a national security agency that tries to make things worse, we founded a People's Security Agency. We try to make things better. And yes, we refer to some people like Edward Snowden and stuff. They are in our office. They are our heroes. So we are part of a movement that tries to make the internet a better place. And now I'm going with you shortly through a few numbers. First of all, we want to be at CyberGhost very transparent about what happens there. And I think these numbers are also a good example for the fact that services like these are not mainly used for doing bad things. So this is the total number of abuses we received. So this is numbers from August 2014 till August 2015. This is the monthly unique users we have. So we have a constant growth of users, so the service is constantly growing. But as you see, the number of abuses are not growing. They are going up and down for several reasons. This is the percentage of total abuses in our network based on the monthly unique users. And these numbers go from 0.49% to now 0.19%. So actually 0.19% of our users use the service for some abusive stuff. So what is that? This is DMCA requests. police requests, and malicious activities. These are the three groups we put it in. You see that the amount of DMCA requests is dropping. The police requests are quite stable, and the malicious activities are growing. These are the monthly DMCA requests we receive. They are dropping. We had like months with 2,100, 2,800, 822, whatever. So monthly DMCA requests received means compared to the previous year, the number of requests has increased with an average of 37%. Over the past 12 months, CyberGhost received an average of 1,700 per month. The number of users has increased with 42%. The reason why it dropped is not only because people use the service less for abusing. We have taken several measures to reduce the number of abuses, so we took measures. One of these actions is that we closed ports on several servers for torrent streaming. For example, the ports in locations such as United States, Australia, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Singapore, and Mexico, as well as all the free servers, no longer allow peer-to-peer connections. So the drop in DMCA requests was not that people stopped downloading pirated material. It was that we took countermeasures, mainly for the reason that we have not been any longer to protect our partners. For example, in the United States government puts a lot of pressures on the data centers we rented servers with, because as we are not able to fulfill a DMCA request because we cannot withhold the identity of a user, then the data center gets under pressure. And to protect them, we started to block torrenting there. The monthly police requests are between 11 and 7. Exactly Monday after the Paris attacks, we had 5 police officers in our office. I think from the Ministry of Inner Defense in Romania. They came with an FBI letter, so these guys showed up, not even with a court order. They just got a letter from the FBI to research a case where somebody tweeted on Twitter something that was obviously related to the attacks in Paris. And they wanted to know, and it was done with an IP address of CyberGhost, and they wanted to know the identity of the user. And we couldn't help them for several reasons. We would not have, we would not be able to help them also in future, as Twitter also is one of the company that implemented encryption more and more. So Twitter is now HTTPS encrypted fully. So we would detect in future, maybe with a court order, that somebody enters Twitter, but we would not detect if somebody enters a certain account. It's simply not possible. So the world got a bit safer through these. So these are the kind of requests we get. The increased number of users from 3.5 million to 5 million is slightly affecting the number of these requests. 79 requests on disclosing user data have been counted with a monthly average of 5.6. And now we are, although the user base has been developed of 42%, it's still 5.6. So, but this is statistically speaking not a big thing. So that means compared to the millions of users we have, the amount of police requests is quite low, and I think it can be compared with the amount of requests every single ISP gets. So I think it's a normal number. It's not an extraordinary big number. Monthly malicious activities complaints received. This is growing. So the service gets more and more abused for all kind of malicious activities, DDoS attacks or whatever. So we thought about that. We are right now investigating. The point is that substantial increase happened between September 2014 and August 2015. And we thought, okay, is now the time that some kind of people detect VPNs like ours or company like ours to abuse even more or to use it even more? Obviously not. Also companies like Kaspersky, Trend Micro, Cisco, and Symantec reported in the same time a tremendous growth of malicious attacks. So we've been just swapping with the wave. I want to give you some background information on some of the correlated numbers. So having a look on numbers and statistics means always trying to have a look a bit in the background and on the basis of numbers. So these are the abuses on US servers. The point is, we are growing in different regions differently. And most probably, we grow in regions where politicians try to fight civil rights, try to fight the free access to internet, and so on and so on. And exactly when some events take place, we then immediately see users using these kind of services more and more. So you can clearly see here how the growth in the United States is connected with some events that took place in the United States. The same for German servers. So we had also a tremendous growth in Germany lately after a non-governmental organization there, Reporters Without Borders, sued the German's intelligence service, BND, for abusing civil rights and so on. In these months, we had a huge debate on media, and these debates and these activities lead at the end to the fact that we tremendously grew in Germany. So that means awareness leads always, in our case, to onboarding more users. Other growth drivers right now for our service is UK. I mean, I'm sorry for that, but I'm not a politician. I can say that. I mean, the super idiot Cameron, who rules this country and has no clue about how basic internet work. That was the idiot, by the way, that proposed that we should stop having HTTPS connection. These idiots seriously said that this is a problem because the police can't do their job. He would have ruined, e-commerce in UK to zero, because nobody would have been able to pay anything online anymore. I mean, this is an idiot. I can't say it differently. But I mean, thanks to this idiot, we are constantly growing in UK because everything these idiots do there help us to gather customers. I mean, it's incredible. And then we have another guy in Turkey who's not an idiot. This one is really dangerous. Who is fighting against his own people constantly. So every time, he's also an idiot. So all the time, these idiots in Turkey switch off internet, turn down Twitter, turn down Facebook, because they don't want to have people talking about politics, organizing themselves and stuff like that. We are constantly growing. So Turkey is right now the country where we are growing the most. And this is all a sign for, people in power are not capable, obviously, to understand how the internet works. But what they basically understand is that there are powerful tools for people to organize, for people to communicate, and that there is privacy taking place. And everywhere on the world where privacy is taking place, where people can organize and talk in private, resistance is taking place. Civil rights activism is taking place. Democracies involve. I mean, the work of journalists is dependent on privacy. The work of civil rights activists is dependent on privacy. The work of lawyers, of workers' unions, of people who fight for our rights, who have a positive impact on our society. No, they don't have a positive impact. They are the backbone of any free society. And the key to ensure privacy online is encryption. And because it's the key for further positive development, for making the internet a better place, we should not hand over people who have no clue about this technology, even if we could build it, and I said we can't build it, a golden key. This is what I wanted to talk about. A last small sentence. CyberGhost is supporting all over the world people who are working on change using encryption technologies. Our company has not only a product to sell, we have also a API. So our technology, our own clients are based on our own API. Our product is part of a lot of other technologies, applications, whatever. Might that be an antivirus company that already built a VPN that is based on our technology? Might it be a telephone company, a smartphone company who already built a VPN to make their phones even more secure, who built that based on our technology? So CyberGhost is technically speaking something like an Amazon AWS for VPN, and we encourage people also to build tools around it. I would point my finger today shortly to promote that to people from Panel Collective, it's called. Stand up shortly. Stand shortly up. So these are activists who are right now on the street to make a change in Romania. It's especially important for people from Romania. They are building a website with encryption technology. We are helping a little bit with that, where people can express their political opinions, maybe organize a bit better for demonstrations. This movement, and they are part of it, already changed a lot in Romania. We have a new government here. An old corrupt government left, a new one comes. Let's see how long it takes till we can name them also corrupt, but for now they changed a lot. And if you are a hacker, if you are a civil rights activist, if you can help us out with code, if you can help out with technical knowledge, you just saw her, get to her later, and maybe you get together. So we support this kind of stuff. Thank you. If you have any questions, please ask.
Hi. Do you think that maybe a meeting with the head of states, the important politicians, in which we educate them about the benefits of encryption would be useful, and maybe a collaboration would improve things?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always a big fan of talking with people, but it doesn't make sense to talk with idiots. I mean, this is, I said it before and I mean it. I think there is another language they basically understand, and this language is money. And they already started to listen to that. So I never thought that companies like Facebook, Google, Twitter, who are not well known for respecting people's privacy, are on our side now. Also Microsoft, who is also not known for treating customers' data very proper, but they are now on our side. Why? Because the awareness that people start to have about privacy leads to the fact that people search for alternatives, exactly to services like Google, like Facebook, like Twitter. So these people have a problem in the Silicon Valley right now. They are afraid of the future. And the future might be that people stop using these services because they are not secure. And everybody knows that the NSA catches the data, especially. So they are on our side right now. They are putting a lot of pressure right now on the government in the United States. And the talk is money. The talk is, if you don't stop pressuring us, handing over data, if you don't stop pressuring us, handing over keys, you fucking ruin our business. And obviously, this kind of talk helps. Because you have indeed people like Obama who starts to say, maybe we should think about these guys in the Silicon Valley because they are making like 30% of the tax income of the United States, plus around, I don't know, 20-something% of the employees. So I think that's the language they understand. So that's why I also think this whole thing here with encryption is a huge chance for people like us, for people like you who are technicians, who are working in IT companies, to build products that are safe, that are secure, that are based on encryption, and make a shitload of money with it. So we should all stop thinking about this in these open source things and giving software away. We should make businesses out of it. And our company proved it. So we are 4 years, we are profitable, we are making money. So as more money as we make, as more employees we hire, it gets harder for the Romanian government to negotiate with us to hand them over a key, because we are paying taxes here and we are employing people. I think that's the language they understand way better than arguments.
Yes, I think we should focus on what would be of interest to them and explain that to
Exactly.
them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I noticed that you have a lot of servers in United States. How do you know for sure that those servers are secure?
We don't. How could we know that? It's a good question. No, we don't. So the approach of CyberGhost was from the very first beginning not that we built a tool that is 100% safe, that we are, you know, the ones who can fight Goliath. So we are not. We are a small startup. We are building a service that is used by a lot of people, and we are trying to do our best. What we can't make sure is that the servers in the United States are not intercepted already by the NSA because we don't have physical access. So what we did this year was to invent own data centers. So for a startup with 35 people, it's kind of hard to say, okay, let's replace all these servers with own data centers. You need a lot of money and you need awareness. You need customers who are willing to pay for it. So what we did, we organized an Indiegogo campaign and we said, okay, people, what would be if we do an own data center, would you pay for it? And they did. We raised 350,000 euros and we built an own data center as a blueprint for others in Romania here, the so-called no-spy proxy data center. And we will use this blueprint now to roll it out. So we have to control also the hardware, we know that. And we are discussing right now how we can make, how we can communicate this to users. Look, this is a server that we consider to be more safe than another because it is maybe in a legislation that is different. So we are aware of this problem, and we communicate that also quite open with our customers.
Yeah, that was my second question. And my third question, do you consider in the future using some kind of Tor protocol between servers, like for 10, 20 seconds or 10 minutes, a user should go through this server and then the next one and so and so?
Not exactly now what you talked about, but you can be sure that we consider everything. So we are talking on a daily basis how we can make this thing even more secure and even better. Look, the main thing is for a service like ours, the whole discussion about technology is not quite so important. More important is the discussion about the legal framework. So as long as we are good guys, as long as we don't store and track data, as long as IP translations are not tracked and are in no database, even if we get hacked, even if the state organizations have access to our databases, it doesn't matter because there is no data. That's why I'm so into this discussion that we all should have a technical side of the discussion, and we should take that serious, and we work on that, and we consider every day everything. Also regarding our internal structure, about the people we hire, how do we hire them, do we trust them, stuff like that. But on the other side, I think we have to have, even if we are entrepreneurs, even if we are just technicians, even if we are hackers or whatever, we have to be political thinkers. We have to think about the legal frameworks around us. So I think this is more important. But yeah, we consider everything, also mixed machines so that you connect from one machine to the next, blah, 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 blah. On the other side, everything that makes a thing more secure makes it more unusable. So and we're also trying, do you want to have more speed? Exactly. Yeah.
We are kind of short scheduled, but we are going to take one more question. Okay.
So, sorry, two questions. Now that I've got
That's the trick. That's how it goes.
So social engineer. Okay, so first of all, how many users do you have from Arabic countries?
Does some of the guys from our company knows that? Kind of?
Okay, cool.
So there is a difference between we have a free service and a premium service, a paid service. And most probably the countries with censorship problems use our free service, And the people in the richer part of the world, like US, Germany, blah, 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 who have more privacy concerns than censorship concerns, pay for it.
Okay, and how do you know that if you don't keep logs?
Because we track the ingoing IPs and the countries and we store that.
So you do track that.
Yes.
Okay, and
But we don't store an IP translation. But for sure we want to know where they custom. We need that also for load balancing reasons.
Okay, and you kept mentioning about your transparency and how you facilitate access to people to see what's happening within CyberGhost and to see for themselves. So how many people have asked for that, and to how many did you give actual access?
So since we founded the company, we said, okay, we are closed source. We are a commercial company. A lot of online activists usually don't like the idea of making money, and we like the idea. So we said, how do we deal with that? And we said we invite NGOs, we invite hackers, we invite everybody who has a technical background into our office to have a look on our source code. None did. Nobody did.
I asked.
You can come at any time.
I was refused.
Yeah. You asked?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Last year.
I look in this case, Monday, it's a good time. Monday, our CTO is in Bucharest, so we are working with the German development team. We are the only Romanian company who outsourced to Germany. You're invited, you can come, you can sit and have a look on the databases, everything.
Initially, the person I talked to said it was okay, and I wanted to do a completely non-intrusive, I just wanted to see how things are. I proposed that somebody from your end just types in commands and just gives me the output. Okay. And if at some point they feel uncomfortable, then they wouldn't do it.
Okay.
And it was initially okay, and afterwards, the next day I got an email saying that it's not going to happen.
Okay. Let me look into the case, what the reason was for the denial. But it is not a reason that we don't do that. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, but...
Oh, no, we have to. Thank you for coming, and see you next time.
Thank you, Robert.